Hi there. How are you doing?
Good. How are you? Hi
I'm
there.
I'm good. It's so great to talk to you. I've been reading, you've had some press coverage and I've been reading about you. And first of all, I want to ask, how did you become friends?
I like
That's
that
an
story.
easy one to start with. Well, we met when our oldest, Carrie's son, and my daughter, who were actually coincidentally born on the same day, we met at preschool when they started preschool. That many years ago, they are 25.
They'll be 25
Yeah, they'll be
this
25
year.
in September. So that was 24 years ago.
What was it about? Like, what was it about each other? Because I always think it's a bit of a romance, like, what was it for you to each other?
Boy and I had a girl, so it wasn't like our kids were playing together. I think it was just an easy, easy, those moms in the thick of it. And
Our kids went to different schools, so we're kind of in and out after preschool, kind of in and out of each other's lives. And then our youngest, who just graduated from college, two girls became close friends. I don't know, junior high or whatever. And so then we were kind of more in each other's lives. And it's one of the nice stories where the two families all like each other.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so let's start out with, first of all, your website is amazing. Like when I go to research people, usually I guess I'm a judgmental content person. So I'm usually like, oh, I wish I could get my hands on this thing.
But you get even better. We're working on it. It's going to get
okay.
better.
The content is great though. It's like your personality shine through. There's all the great stuff on there about you. I just absolutely love it. So I think you both have really interesting menopause stories that will resonate. So Carrie, can you start just with what happened and how you dealt with it?
Definitely. I had hot flashes. I had night sweats. I wasn't sleeping that well. I ignored it and ignored it and ignored it. If it was my kids, I would have taken them to a doctor, but I ignored it because it was me. But the thing that took me to my knees really was brain fog. I really started noticing, my kids were saying, I told you. I started noticing trouble with word recall, going to the grocery store and forgetting when I went there to get in the first place. I'm sure it sounds really familiar to your listeners, but it really concerned me and it really scared me. And I snuck away and had my memory tested at a memory institute that was kind of close by. And I was really scared. Like I thought that it was kind of the beginning of the end. And they said, oh no, this is hormone related, which this part of the story I like because my doctor never said, let me know if you feel like you're losing your mind. And, so there was so much regretful anxiety and worry and a lot of lost time for me, for sure. Because I didn't realize the way I was feeling had to do with menopause because I still had my period. And, so I really, I think that probably rings true to a lot of listeners, that type of story. But so my doctor said, I called him and he said, oh, easy. Hormones, you'll feel better in 3 days, which was true. I did. But then kind of later, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit later about how we came across this solution. And since then, I've actually stopped taking the hormones and I just use our product. But that's one way, that's one story about Hello Again. But
yeah. But you talked about on the website, you just talked about how the hormones, your problems with the hormones. I'm curious just about that.
Yeah, why I first of all, I had a patch. I exercised a lot. It was always falling off. I was always unclear if I should put another one on or wait until the time that I was supposed 3 days later when I was supposed to change the patch. That was one problem. The press, there have been several different cycles in the press about hormones and the safety of them and the concerns about them. So, that was always in the back of my mind too. And so when we formulated this product, I thought I'm just going to see if this does it for me without the hormones. And
you also had the progesterone part of it. You were concerned about that part, right? Like how did that play out?
Yeah. Well, no, it was all kind of a part of the press cycle and about what the specific concerns about hormones, were. And the progesterone, I'm not very good at taking things every day. I'm just not. I mean, I have bottles and bottles of vitamins at home that I renew my energy for taking my vitamins every day, and I'm good for 3 days, and then I forget. I'm horrible. I mean, I wasn't a good candidate because I'm horrible at that.
Yeah.
So that was another thing. Then do I double up on it the next day? Do I skip it? So I didn't feel like even if which my doctor believes and that it was a safe protocol for me, I didn't believe that the way I was executing it was as safe as it could be, because my patches were falling off and I was forgetting to take the pills.
Yeah. Okay. I still have a weird dream. I was on the pill when I was young, and I still have this weird like half nightmare that I have forgotten to take it for days and days. Like it's this it's almost like that university dream, like that, it's one of those, it's like I wake up and I'm like, oh, I forgot my pill. I'm like, you haven't been on the pill for literally like 25 years. I don't know why you're having this dream. And this is one of the things that keeps me off of hormone therapy, because I think I'm the same. I can't take it every day. Okay, Patty, what experience? What happened with you?
Yeah, let's see. What was my demise? Okay, so I think that I started young. I was in my early 40s. I would have hot flashes, cranking up the heat, pouring sweat, and it would be, you could feel it coming, you could feel it, and then you could feel it going away. And I kept going to my doctor and I kept saying, I'm sure I'm in menopause. I'm sure I'm in menopause. I'm having these hot flashes like 5-6 times a day. And then they go away for a while, and then they come back and they go away. And they would, do blood tests. Like, no, not menopause, not menopause, not menopause. I thought, okay, I can't understand it. Like, if this isn't it, I don't know what is. And then I also could not sleep. Now, I had 3 babies in 3 years. And so my sleep was never that good, but I had a lot of anxiety at night with sleep, during the years. And then of course, because you're not technically diagnosed and you're not, it's so great once you find your community, and then you can get feedback and research and all this stuff. But when you're being told, well, that's not happening to you, you don't know what's happening to you. So there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of sleepless nights, and a lot of hot flashes and sweating. Mm-hmm. And eventually I did go on hormones. I do the pellets. I still do it. I'm a little different than Carrie. I can dip in a little bit. I get a little depressed sometimes if I don't do it. And I am also terrible at taking pills and irresponsible with making sure that I'm matching it up. So I do the pellets.
The testosterone pellets?
Yeah. And then I take progesterone at night. So I only have to take the 1 pill. And I do that with the Hello Again. And the combination for me just keeps me steady. And at some point, I'm sure I will, wean myself off of that. But for now, that works for me.
Just an aside is that there's all these no-go like radioactive areas, as you know, in the menopause space, and pellets is one of them. Pellets is just like I can just hear people freaking out, like they knew talking about it. There's a doctor on social media there's a doctor making a TikTok right now about your pellets.
I just couldn't do it the other way, and it wasn't for me without it. And amazing. I also got to a point where I couldn't lose weight. Like I just had that, and that really jump started everything when I started the pellets. So for me, it just keeps me on an even keel. But again, everybody's different, and everybody finds their own solution. So it's hard to say what would work and what doesn't work, and it works for me.
Just while we're on you wrote something, there's something on the website that I just loved. You said, I woke up 3 to 4 times a night, racked with persistent and confusing thoughts about all the things I was going to mess up the next day. I mean, that's just the way you describe that is just what happens in the middle of the night.
It's horrible. And everything seems so important when you wake up the next day. You're like, why was I worried about like not having the right lunch meat for my daughter's sandwich or something? And it just seemed like it was crucial at 3 a.m. And then, at 8 a.m, it's like, whatever, it doesn't matter if you're sleeping, but whatever. I mean, the little things would just keep me up all night long. And then that cycle starts. So now you're in that habit. I think your body just says, oh, it's 2 o'clock, wake up. Oh, it's 4 o'clock, wake up. Oh, it's 5 o'clock, wake up. And then, you're dragging through the day.
Thoughts of doom time for thoughts of doom. Okay. So you, as friends, it seems like you started experimenting with cannabis, I guess, when it became legal, or maybe before.
We honestly didn't intend to. We just went to a dispensary just to check it out. And that's where we found out about cannabis and sort of all the things that other people were using it for to help address some of the symptoms that we were having. Okay. And it was exciting because it was natural, and it was there, it came in all these different forms. And that's what we started thinking, because neither of us had a relationship with cannabis prior to that.
And I really, we truly walked in there. What's that? Right. What do you do with that? What is this? And the thing that really struck me was we had a great, but huge apologies. We had a great, I don't know how to turn that off either.
Staff.
We had a great staff member who was really took us through how cannabis works in the body. And I just didn't know how cannabis works in the body, that we have these receptors, and that when cannabis meets the receptors, your systems balance. Like that was the, my systems are out of whack. My sleep system, my emotional system, my cognitive system.
Okay.
And that's when we decided, first of all, that's the first time we ever spoke to each other about menopause. And we never once had a conversation.
Yeah, I mean, there's all this stuff. They're like, this helps with sleep. I'm like, helps with sleep, you know, whatever.
Right.
And you're the brain fog of all this stuff. We're like, I have that, you have that. Like, I mean, and we were, this was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
3.5 years ago.
And it was literally, I mean, before we got to the car, why aren't we using this for menopause?
Yeah.
We have direct line between the use of cannabis and relief for menopause.
But you'll be surprised to know that there was not a product on the shelf
Yeah.
marketed or branded or formulated for women our age, funnily enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had every product in there for every symptom that you
Yeah,
felt.
everything had a skull on it or a leaf, or it was gold and shiny or whatever. And
Yeah.
but we tried edibles, vapes, you know, the drinks, the different kinds of things, you know, we tried it all.
But they were psychoactive in some.
But everything was formulated to be psycho. I mean, that's why most people went in there was to get high. So that didn't work for us.
And we wanted to use it to just feel better and get on with life.
Right.
So there was that. They were inconsistent.
Yep.
So my use on a Monday was different than my use on a Thursday, and certainly our uses differed from each other's as well. We just couldn't find the product that we were envisioning.
Okay.
And that's when we did a lot of research, and that's when we realized this needed to be a vaginal suppository, because we can use the THC and the CBD. We've also added in other botanicals to great effect without psychoactivity. So that's why our product is a suppository, because if it wasn't going to be hard enough to market menopause and suppositories, and cannabis, we had to throw in suppositories.
Why, if you put it in your vagina, is it not psychoactive?
A couple of different reasons. One, you are bypassing the stomach and the liver, and it's in the liver that THC gets metabolized in a certain way, and the byproduct of that is very psychoactive. It also you have all of these receptors for the cannabinoids that your body makes all over your body. The most dense place is in your brain, but the second most dense place is in the female reproductive tract. And when your body's cannabinoids meet the receptors, the biological goal of that is homeostasis. So whatever's out of whack is encouraged back into whack. And so the local application of the cannabis to the receptors in the female reproductive tract is really effective, because the brain is the most dense place, but the female reproductive tract is the second most dense place for cannabinoid receptors.
And vaginal dryness. I mean, that was like, we both were going through all the things, and then it was like, well, and vaginal dryness, and it can help solve vaginal dryness. So, because our base is cocoa butter, vitamin E, and avocado oil, so it's super soothing and moisturizing.
Is anyone irritated by it? Is there anyone who?
Somebody was just asking us that. I mean, the only thing that feedback we get sometimes is a little leakage, which could be any suppository that anybody uses for anything. You know, it just depends on your internal body temperature, and maybe if you jump up and run and do an exercise class, you know, whatever. But you know, we're really proud of our formulation, and we have been very lucky not to receive any sort of feedback of negativity.
In fact, we were included in a study for the vaginal biome, and we didn't know we were included in it, but once the study was done and the results were in, we were contacted, and our product, as well as some suppositories that we would all recognize that are sold on our drugstore counters, over the counter, that treat yeast infections, and that our product did not have any negative effect on the vaginal biome, unlike some of the other products that you would all recognize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And cannabis, California cannabis is strictly regulated. It is tested to the point where I doubt a organic apple or
tea bag,
Yeah,
anything. I mean,
would-
forget it. I mean,
yeah.
they could have horsehair in it and nobody would know. But if you're buying a product in a legal dispensary in California, you can be, sure that it's a very pure, the purity is good, and the ratio, all that stuff they've tested to the, millionth degree.
What about some of the other symptoms of genitory syndrome of menopause? I think I always screw up that word. It's like the scratchiness, sort of the muted, some women are, I'm hearing more and more muted sort of sexual response, muted orgasms, like some numbness. Does it have any effect on that?
Yes. So our product, we were not formulated as a personal lube, but we kind of like say it sets the table for libido in a lot of different ways. So lowers anxiety. That actually is helpful, especially if you have painful sex. The anxiety before sex can really make things worse.
Well, let's say first, you had a good night's sleep the night before.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, and your husband's not getting on your last, or your spouse isn't getting on your last
irritated,
nerve, or your partner isn't getting on your last nerve, so you're not irritated, you're not anxious. But THC is a vasodilator, so it will increase blood flow, and we're applying it right there in that local area. CBD is anti-inflammatory, but it's also a relaxant, so the pelvic floor can relax a little bit. So we like to say that we're kind of, and then of course, vitamin E, avocado oil, cocoa butter. So for some women, it's just kind of just what they need. For other women, you might want to set the stage emotionally and physically with our product, but you might also want to layer in a personal lubricant.
Okay.
But and then, we were just hearing from women with endometriosis and pain that's associated with that. Some women are using our product after sex because there's a kind of a residual pain afterward that this helps with.
Okay. I find whenever I write about cannabis and menopause, I mean, there's been only 2 studies that I can find so far. I think the North American Menopause Society has talked about it twice. But whenever I write about it or talk about it on social media, I lose followers and subscribers. Like, it's the most prominent topic in that area, like I can see the direct line that there's people who are just like, oh no. How do you overcome that? I guess are those not your people, or?
First of all, thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
Really?
We are people because that's what we're selling, So I mean, we knew going into this that was going to be the biggest, the hardest thing for us is the education of women who have not walked into a dispensary, to teach them that cannabis can be such a natural source of wellness for them. And maybe here in California, it's definitely changed a lot in the last 2 to 3 years. I mean, now people talk about wellness and cannabis all the time here.
But I think we have women in every decade that work here at Hello Again. And the hardest group is, we're both in our 50s. We grew up in the war on drugs, just say no, all of that. I was chicken. Everyone had a bad experience in high school. All of that baggage comes with women our age. I think this is the hardest demographic for us. If you just back it up a little bit to women who are 45, it's a completely different, the acceptance level is very different. The experience level is very different, and so on all the way down through. We're just formulating a new product for Hello Again period for monthly relief.
But it's because what we found, what we were doing ourselves even, and everybody we knew is treating ourselves with products that make you sick and in pain, alcohol, sleeping pills, anti-anxiety medication, all this stuff that just layers and layers and layers and makes you feel worse and worse and worse. And cannabis, used in the right way with, it's a clean, natural solution with no hangover, no residual effects. It goes into your body, it does its magic, and then it wears off.
And prior to the ban on cannabis in the United States,
it's been
a huge portion of pharmaceutical prescriptions included cannabis, in the 1800s, the early 1900s.
Yeah, that's them. I can drink my smoothie.